Hi all, happy Diwali. I'm making this video on the day of Diwali. Right now, the crackers are getting bursted outside. So I just thought to give you some good 5 questions which are real certification questions on AZ900. This is the part 35. Do not forget to hit the subscribe channel who will be as dedicated as me to post videos even on a Diwali. Jokes apart, do not forget to click the join button. There will be a lot of knowledge available there at a very minimum subscription. Let us look at the questions. Question 170. It is talking about two benefits of cloud computing. So let us scan through the options. A says enable the rapid provisioning of resources. Yes, this is one of them. So with cloud, what happens is, like I explained earlier, you don't have to buy upfront. If you are on premises, you will have to buy and go through the procurement route. Suppose you want two servers, it might take 15 days or 1 month to buy them, connect them to your network, configure them, and then use them. So with cloud, whether it be Azure or AWS or GCP, this problem is resolved. It gives you rapid resources. For example, you want to set up two servers, you can spawn a instance or a VM. In the Azure world, we call it VM. You can spawn this instantly. Okay, so that way your time to market, we call this term time to market. That means how soon your product can go to the market. So with cloud, this is one of the greatest advantage. Now, option B talks about increase in administrative complexity. So this is wrong. There is decrease in administrative complexity. So you can manage these servers very easily. Like, I told you, you don't have to go through the procurement route to buy the servers and then create tickets with the networking teams to connect this to the network and so on. So your complexity is reduced, right? Everything is done by AWS, a majority of stuff. Let's look at C. C says that uh, it has the same configuration options as on premises. So see, this is not one of the benefit. It can have similar configuration or it may not, like your on premises. It may happen that your on premises was on a different uh, type of a server, and your cloud platform you may choose memory intensive servers so that your memory intensive workloads can run. So C is wrong. That just leaves us with one last option. So it says that it will shift the capital expenditure, which we call capex, to opex. So what does that mean? This means that, like I gave you in the example, in the on-premises world, you are taking, say, $200,000 and setting up a server upfront. You are paying that upfront to the vendor to buy those servers. You are paying for your network connection and configuration services upfront. With cloud, you get to use the pay as you go. That means that you pay only for what you have used. So that is mostly like your OPEX. OPEX means like you are using your, for example, mobile phones, cellular services, and they charge you based on your talk time. That is OPEX. They are not saying that, hey, you know what? I think you would be talking for 10,000 hours this year. So why don't you pay $15,000 upfront and use it for a year? It doesn't work that way. So this is OPEX. This is my final answer. Now, what is a feature of virtual network? See, virtual network, does it help you with resource cost analysis? No, it will not help you with that. So that is trusted advisor kind of service. So it will not help you with inspection also. Virtual network is a network. It is not a cop. So packet inspection means you need a service which is like a cop. It is not a cop. Will it help you with geo redundancy? That means you have server, an application hosted on that server, suppose in Ohio, and then you have same application hosted in Singapore in the data centers. So that is geo redundancy, so that people who are in Singapore or in Asian countries can get routed to the Singapore AZ, and people who are in North America can get routed to the Ohio data centers. But virtual network will not help you with geo redundancy. That is not a network thing. That is something which you will have to lay down. I would say multi-region or multi-AZ deployments. So that leaves us with D, that is isolation and segmentation. This is my answer. I'll tell you why. So these three are wrong. So isolation and segmentation is like you have a big network, but what virtual does is it segregates. It creates a sort of a kind of a tunnel. This virtualization. For example, it's same like you have a hardware. How cloud operates it? They have a common hardware, but they are doing a virtualization. Through virtualization, a portion gets allocated to you, a portion gets allocated to someone else, but the underlying hardware is the same. This is how virtualization works. Similar to virtualization of uh, hardware resources, there is something called virtual network as well. They don't create a separate network by putting cables and so on, but using the same cable they create a small space which is dedicated for some other stuff. So this would be my final answer. Now let us look at this. This enables Azure resources. Like, what enables Azure resources to be deployed close to the users? See, whenever we talk about closeness to the users, so always think about geography, something to do with geo, because uh, geo is something like it is close to you. So common sense says geo distribution should be the answer here. This is what common sense says. That means, like, just like in the previous question I gave an example, you can have the applications hosted in Singapore for Asian customers, Asian users. You can have the same application hosted in North America for maybe European customers, or North American customers, or South American customers as well. So that is how we call the geo distribution. So that is used to deploy close to the users. Why do we deploy close to the users? What is the reason? So that the user will get low latency. Low latency means the moment they type, they will immediately get the results. So Netflix uses this concept. Amazon Prime also uses this concept. A lot of time we think that, hey, this video file must be in US, because we are watching an episode which is an American episode, but that may not be the case. That may be close to, maybe in Singapore, near the Asian countries, or maybe somewhere in Europe if you are a European customer. So that is how it is done. See, elasticity is about scale up. Okay, so I'll just first mark this answer. Elasticity is about scale up. That will not help you with closeness to the users. High availability is like the application will be always available. That has nothing to do with closeness. And scalability is also like it will provide ample of resources when it is required, but it has nothing to do with closeness to the users. So this would be my final answer. Let us look at this one. See, you will get such questions in the exam where you will have to match. So let's start working on this. The first one says increase the compute capacity. So when we say compute capacity, it is something to do with scalability. You want to increase, scale up. Increase means scale up. So this scalability will work here. So let me use a different color combination because this is the right answer. This one. Okay. Now let us look at This one, provide a continuous user experience. So when we talk about continuous user experience, what it means is there is no downtime. That means it is highly available. So what will be the answer here? This one, high availability. Third says that you should ensure users always have best experience by deploying apps to all the regions where users are. That means geo, something to do with geo. See, whenever we talk about regions or closeness to the users, thumb rule, what does the thumb rule says? Geo. Okay, not Reliance Geo, that is JIO. We are talking about GEO, geo distribution. That should be the answer here. So this would be my final answer. Let us look at the last question for this part. So you need to identify the type of failure for which AZ can be used to protect. See, what it means is if there is a physical server failure, will the AZ can be used to protect it? No. See, if there is just one server failure within AZ, uh, Azure will immediately give you another hardware allocated. So that is not a problem. So you don't have to switch to a different AZ. This question means under which scenario you will switch to a different AZ. You will not switch to a different AZ if your one server fails. Okay. You will not switch to a different AZ if your region fails, because if region fails, that means all AZ failed, nothing will work. So if region fails, that means you have to switch to another region, not another AZ. So this will also not work. So these two are wrong answers or wrong options. Now third says if a storage failure happens. See, if a storage failure happens, if S3 fails or uh, EBS volume fails in EC2, you can create a different EBS volume and you can have a backup solution, etc. You don't have to move to a different AZ for that. So this is also wrong. So we are left with one option, and this is our answer. So if a data center fails, for example, in India, in the west region, you have 3 data centers, suppose. Okay. Now one fails, like 3 AZs, 3 data centers, or it may be multiple data centers comprising of one AZ. But if the data center fails, that means that AZ is hit badly. In that case, you will have to switch to a different AZ. So this will work. So this one would be my final answer. So now do not forget to click the join button. At a very nominal subscription, you can become a member of this channel. Now what advantages you will get? You will get access to more knowledge repositories, more question banks. Do not forget to hit the subscribe channel to stay tuned to many more such informative content. Only subscribe if you are willing to clear cloud certifications. If you think that you want to leave it to chances, go through Udemy or other courses. But if you come here, there will be nothing left to chance. So this brings us to the end of this part. We looked at 5 great questions, real questions, and we focused on the concepts. See you in the next part.